Hello, historians, and welcome to Purple Shirt History. Today, we'll talk about the P.E.E.L paragraph. It's the single most important writing skill you need to do well in your IGCSE, A-level, AP, whatever, all the exams. You need to be able to make a clear point, you need to be able to provide specific evidence, and you need to be able to explain how all that relates back to the question. So please sit back and enjoy. If you find this useful, please take a moment to subscribe, like, and comment below. It really helps out the channel. Thank you very much, and let's get into it. When I started teaching IGCSE history, I was given this resource for P.E.E.L, P-E.E.L, like a banana peel. There's a little picture in the bottom left-hand side. It stands for Point, Evidence, Explanation, and Link. Your point needs to be quite short. It needs to be to the point, maybe 10 words or less. Then you follow that up with some specific evidence. I want you to use proper nouns. What do I mean by a proper noun? Just use a person's name. So you'll say something like Neville Chamberlain instead of saying he. And if you're going to have a group of people, you'll say the British instead of they. So get into the habit of using proper nouns, not common nouns, in your evidence. Then you're going to have to explain what's going on with all this stuff and how your evidence and your point answer the question. For link, we won't really touch up too much on that right now because it's not necessary for a Part B question, which is what we're going to do now. In coursework and other things, it's necessary, but we'll get to that when we do those videos. So let's take a look at a Part B question. Remember, a Part B does not need an introduction. It does not need a conclusion. It just needs 2 P.E.E. paragraphs. No link is necessary either. So let's just do a little planning before we answer the question. Point 1, Wilson was disappointed because it was still pretty harsh on Germany. Some evidence of this would be that it destabilized the country in a number of different ways. All the Germans hated the Treaty of Versailles, and potentially communists could take advantage of this unstable situation and overthrow the government. It happened in 1917 in Russia, and it looked very likely at the time that Germany could become a communist country. And as a leader of a democratic nation, a Democrat, Wilson didn't want that. So he wanted to protect the Weimar government, which was the young democracy after the German Empire. So that is the explanation we're given. Now, let's just throw in some extra facts here to help us, to guide us in our planning. 6.6 billion pounds. That was the reparations amount. Remember, you need to use pounds. You can't say $6.6 billion. That's a different amount of money, and that's incorrect. So if you look through all the different aspects of the Treaty of Versailles, I'll just throw some more up there, and you can take a look at that to use for your paragraphs. Second one is the self-determination. He really wanted to have self-determination for peoples in his 14 points. He got it in Eastern Europe. So if the question was flipped around and said, why was Wilson happy? He did get self-determined in Eastern Europe, but not in the French Empire, not in the British Empire. India is a huge example. Think of how many people live in India. After 1919, it remained a part of the British Empire. And Indochina, we'll talk about Indochina later on. That's Vietnam, Cambodia, and Laos, and many African colonies Wilson would have liked to see become independent countries to help free trade, to help American businesses, American interests, have them become allies instead of just colonies of Great Britain or France, and be able to trade with them in a free market. So that also would have helped out Wilson and would have been something that he wanted in the Paris Peace Conference. So let's write that first point. Remember, less than 10 words, so let's count out the words. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Ooh, am I breaking my own rule? Wilson thought the Treaty of Versailles was too harsh on Germany. Ooh, 11 words. Sir, that's too much. So you see me make a mistake here. 11 words, not ideal. So I'm sure you can do better than that when you write the second point, because you'll be doing this as an exercise, as practice on your own. Here we go. For example, 6.6 billion pounds of reparations on a country that was bankrupt after World War I, which Germany was. They financed the war through debt. They didn't raise taxes, so the treasury was empty. And this led to a lot of instability, both from far right and from far left groups. So social instability was very bad in a country that was supposed to be a new democracy. And people like Lenin thought, oh, this is going to be the next communist country after the Soviet Union. So Wilson was unhappy and disappointed that this was a potential communist target for expansion. And we mentioned before, there was the October Revolution. So one of these days we'll get, who knows what year it'll be, but we'll get to the Russian depth study and we'll talk about how Lenin overthrew the Tsarist government in 1917. So here's our explanation. Therefore, as a Democrat, Wilson felt that the treaty should not be too harsh on Germany. And the Weimar government, the German government, would be able, if they had a less harsh treaty, to rule and try to recover from World War I in not an easy way, because it would still have been incredibly difficult, but to have a more secure base and have a better chance for success with these types of heavy reparations, war guilt clause, giant losses of resources and territory, and loss of population, extremely heavy terms placed on them from the Treaty of Versailles. All right, so that's one P.E.E. paragraph. Let's just go through it. So the harsh is the key word of the point. That terrible point sentence I wrote, that's too long, okay? I could have gotten rid of on Germany, and that would have only been 9 words, and that would have been acceptable. So I've italicized, for example. I want every evidence sentence for now to start with, for example. There's a lot of other ways we can start them out with these connectives that we'll talk about in another video. So I'm bolding the facts. So the communist takeover of Germany. Right? We didn't say someone could take over Germany. We said the communists, that's a specific group, right? German communists, communists backed with support from the USSR, and so on. So I've italicized, therefore, that means I know I'm in the explanation, and then we're linking everything together. So to help out this democracy, the Weimar government, Wilson wanted to have terms that were fairly lenient, but he was unhappy. Clemenceau would not allow Germany to kind of get off lightly. So now we have a P.E.E. plan. Why don't you guys and girls give it a shot, kind of based on the example I've given you. You can do a better point sentence than I did, for sure. Evidence sentence, so look up at the italics there, start with that for example. It's kind of a guidepost to let me know, to let any assessor know, okay, the point is done. Now we're in the evidence section of the essay. Short and sweet, to the point, right? And then you can get right into the evidence. Have those hard facts. Data, numbers. Don't drown your essay in data, but it's nice to include a little bit. Have names. Have groups. Have events. Avoid pronouns, he, she, it, they, unless you've specifically stated who you're talking about in the sentence prior. And then start your explanation with therefore. Again, there's more connectives you can use. You could say due to this. You can say because of this. But therefore, that's kind of the starter connective to let us know that you are in the explanation section of your essay. Everything's tied together through that point of harshness leading to the disappointment Wilson felt by the Treaty of Versailles. It had wide-ranging effects, negative effects, we should be more specific. And it was something that Wilson thought, this is going to be a problem in the future. This is going to be something that is going to either cause greater turmoil, governments to fall, or it's not going to be effective in keeping peace in the long term. So there was a lot of clashing opinions between him and the other two leaders, Lloyd George and Clemenceau.